Life Lessons from the Crazy Dutch Farmer. Lesson 11, Eiselstein. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Persohn. You can contact me at pastor@mascot.church or in the comments below. Hey, if you like these, like, share, and subscribe. There's a full playlist that is dedicated to this topic you can find on my channel. There will be one more in the series. That's next week. Next week will be what I'm calling Beautiful Week. And all of my messages will line up along those lines for at least a week, maybe a little bit more than that. When I say all of my messages, we're doing the regular Sunday video, and then we're also doing a live stream, which we might make public. We'll see how that goes. So there we go. Well, amongst the Dutch, if you call someone by their surname, that's a sign of respect. So maybe your surname is Smith, and in the English, you probably wouldn't do it that way. You'd say, "Oh, Smith has just arrived." You might say Bill Smith or John Smith or whatever, but it's common amongst the Dutch to do that. So if you note that maybe Mr. Van der Molen and his family arrived a little late at church, you'd say, "Oh, Van der Molen has arrived late." That's not considered a sign of disrespect or anything. That's quite fine. And so you kind of need that to understand this story. Now, the way that you'd use a surname to address a Dutchman is kind of complicated, and I can do it right and I can understand it, but I doubt that I could explain it to someone. It's just kind of the way maybe other European countries do it, but I'm very aware of it amongst the Dutch. And of course, Harry, the man I call lovingly the Crazy Dutch Farmer, was Dutch, obviously. Well, one day Harry was in a less than pleasant mood. Less than pleasant. I would say a foul mood. And I don't remember why. I think that he shouted at me because of something stupid that I did. Every time he shouted at me, I deserved to be shouted at, so that's all fine. I just don't know what ticked him off. And I got around and I thought, oh, it's going to be one of those days. But he was working. He looked up at me. It was like this kind of look. Oh, here it comes. And he had that growl, right? I've talked about it in the past. And he said, "Do you think I'm mean?" I was going to say yes. I wasn't going to, I knew better than that. Do you think I'm mean? Do you think I'm unfair? Do you think I'm nasty? He said to me, yeah, probably, didn't say it. He said, if you think I'm mean, if you think I'm unfair, if you think I'm nasty, you must meet Eiselstein. And Eiselstein. Now, of course, amongst the Dutch, kind of knew what was going on, the surname. He said, when I came to Canada, I worked for Eiselstein. You have never met a man who was more mean. You've never met a man who pushed harder, who drove anybody harder than Eiselstein. You must meet him if you think I'm mean. Well, it stuck with me. Anyways, as it happened, a few weeks after that, I came in from the field. I don't remember what I was doing, and Harry's boys came running out to me. Albert, they said. Yeah. We have a visitor. Okay, they said, Eiselstein is here. Oh, dear God, Eiselstein is here. And of course, I built up in my mind the picture of the man that Harry was afraid of, or intimidated by, or whatever. I built this up. So I thought, I'm going to meet Eiselstein. And anyways, as it happened, I went in and to the house, and Mr. and Mrs. Eiselstein were there, and I was introduced to this portly, short, kind of tubby, aging, Dutchman. And I had in my mind the picture of a massive, huge, bulking, just what does the name Eiselstein kind of do to your, mind? And so here's this very friendly, elderly gentleman. And so we ate together, and we're there for lunch. And as the custom is with the Dutch, you pray before the meal and after the meal, and immediately before you pray after the meal, you read the scriptures. And so we went through we ate, we did that, read the scriptures, and the family was there. And we And then I went back out to work, right? And so as I got back out, I noticed something sort of when I turned around, and Eiselstein had left the house, and he came and he followed me, or he came out to find me. And he walked over to me, and he said, and he grabbed my arm, right? And he said, Albert, he said, now that, oh, here it comes. He said, Albert, Harry's crazy. And he smiled at me, and he walked off. and I thought, now, isn't that interesting? Now, that lesson took a long time for me to really understand. And I hope you can get what I'm trying to say here. Well, first of all, the crazy that Eiselstein used is the crazy that I used, and that is nothing but a compliment. All right, so there are, you, especially in the cities, I live in a big city, and there are people that you'd see that are the other kind of crazy, and it's like, that guy, yeah, I think, and you'd use that word, but normally they've got some serious problem in their life, or maybe they've got an alcohol or drug problem or something. Well, not that kind of crazy, not that kind of crazy. This is a different kind of crazy. This is good crazy. Many years ago, I used to pray with this lady in our community. She's passed away now. I would just go to her home and pray for her. She wasn't very well, and I just got an early mobile phone. And here's this very unwell lady in a dingy little apartment, and she's long gone now. So, and I said, oh, and she said, what's that? So I just got a mobile phone so I can, my business can call me. I said, do you have one? Your family can call you? She said, oh, no, she said, I never have a mobile phone. I said, okay, no problem. Then she said, because they'll know what I'm doing. They will know what you're doing. So as if there are government agents sitting around the corner sitting somewhere in a dark room, wondering what this crippled elderly lady is going to be doing, checking her mobile phone logs. Well, possibly, but not very likely. But she might have been in that other crazy category. But not Harry, and that's not what Eiselstein meant. Eiselstein saying to me, Albert, Harry's crazy. It was both a compliment and a warning. Well, what did it mean to me? As I thought about it over the years, is there something about this that actually profoundly affected me after that? Because it really helped me to understand Harry, but it got me thinking. I've thought about it a lot over the many years. It goes like this, ladies and gentlemen. You never know who you influence. You never know fully who influences you. You never really ever get an idea as to how the people in your past form you and change you and affect you. As I'm in my 60s, I'm looking back at those people who've done that in my life. My ordaining pastor, the Reverend Dr. Ron Halverson he's now retired from Riverside Church in California, said, you always need to keep a top 10 list. That's the top 10 people who've influenced you the most in your life. And he said that list changes all the time as you grow. And so I look at my top 10 list and I say, who's on that list? Who's there now? And I have a double top 10 list. I have a top 10 list, which does include family members, because as you get married and you have children, well, they appear in the top 10 list. And then I have a top 10 list of people who are not family members. And I don't know that I've got 10 in each case, but it's like, who has influenced me the most? Who is influencing me the most? Evidently, Eiselstein had a profound influence on Harry. The Eiselstein that I met was an older man, possibly a lot more mellow in his old age. I thought many times about what it would have been like to have seen Harry working for Eiselstein and what Eiselstein in his prime would have been like. Nevertheless, over time, I realized how important it is to realize that we influence people and we do not know the extent of that influence. We're influenced by people and we don't really understand what kind of influence people have on us. Leadership is actually influence. It actually is one of those things that happens not necessarily even to us by actual leaders, but it's that ability to exercise influence. So there I was, a young man in probably fear of my employer, and there he was talking about someone who at one time he was in fear of. And I got an opportunity to meet him. His name was Eiselstein. Harry said, "Do you think I'm mean? Do you think I'm angry? Do you think I'm whatever? You should meet Eiselstein." Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, who's the Eiselstein in your life? Think about it. To whom are you the Eiselstein? My name is Persohn. You can contact me at pastor@mascot.church. If you like these, like, share, and subscribe. There is a playlist dedicated to this topic. Next week, I think, will be our last. This has been a Life Lessons from the Crazy Dutch Farmer, lesson number 11, Eiselstein.